They told her girls from villages don't fly planes, but she didn't just fly, she soared beyond every limit. Not all madness is wasted. Some become the spark that turns dreams into legacy. In the tender embrace of rural India, where golden wheat fields ripple under a boundless sky, lies a small village called Raipur. The air here hums with the scent of damp earth, the soft rustle of leaves, and the distant call of a coal at dawn. Dreams in this village, though, are often tethered to the ground, especially for a girl. But in one humble home, its mud walls kissed by the glow of a lantern, lived a 16-year-old named Vedika. Her eyes, they held the shimmer of twilight skies. Her heart, it pulsed with a dream too vast for the narrow paths of her world. Vedika's father, Mohan, was a farmer, his hands weathered by years of coaxing life from the soil. Her mother, Lakshmi, poured love into every roti she shaped in their small kitchen. They had little, but their spirit was woven with grit. Each morning, Vedika would dash through fields, her feet brushing dew-soaked grass, but her eyes always lifted, chasing the fleeting roar of a fighter jet painting the sky. Those moments, they felt like destiny whispering her name. One evening, as fireflies flickered like tiny stars, Vedika sat by her mother, her voice soft, yet trembling with hope. "Mom," she began, pausing, "can I fly a plane? Can I become a pilot?" Lakshmi's hands stilled over the dough, her gaze meeting heavy with love and quiet worry. "You can, my child," she said, her words slow and deliberate, "but the path, it will demand everything you have." At school, Vedika heard of the National Defense Academy, and then, like a spark in the dark, the truth. Girls could now become pilots in the Indian Air Force. That moment, it carved her purpose. But in Raipur, her dream was met with laughter, sharp and cutting. "Vedika's gone mad," the villagers mocked, their voices dripping with scorn. A farmer's daughter, dreaming of the clouds? Yet, Vedika stood firm. After school, she'd trek miles to a nearby town, the sun scorching her worn chapals, to a dusty library where she pored over faded books, old newspapers, and scraps of online material. At home, a cracked phone with faltering internet became her lifeline. At night, as the village slept under a quilt of stars, Vedika studied by the faint glow of a kerosene lamp. YouTube videos on NDA prep looping softly, her resolve stronger than the flickering light. Her first NDA exam felt like a leap toward the heavens. She poured her soul into it, believing she'd soar. But the results came, and her heart sank. She'd failed. The weight of it pressed hard, but her mother's voice, gentle yet firm, held her steady. "Try again, my child," she said, her words a quiet anchor. Her father, though, sighed heavily. "Enough, Vedika," he said, his voice tired. "We're simple folk. Study, yes, but now think of marriage." Tears stung her eyes, but her voice held steady. "Papa," she said, pausing to gather her strength, "just one more chance. If I fail again, I'll do as you say." That night, on the rooftop, under a sky strewn with stars, Vedika sat alone. The cool breeze wove through her hair as she whispered to herself, "I won't give up. Not now, not ever." This time, she poured her entire being into her dream. She rose at 4 a.m., running through misty fields as the world lay still. Days were spent hunched over books, solving math problems from grainy videos, collecting newspaper clippings on current affairs. Evenings, she helped her father in the fields, the weight of the sickle nothing compared to the weight of her ambition. Nights, she studied again, fueled by a fire that refused to dim. But fate struck again. Her second attempt, another failure. The village's taunts grew louder, harsher. "Give up, girl," they jeered. "What's the point of all this?" Even her father's faith began to waver. But Lakshmi, she knelt beside Vedika, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Listen to your heart," she said softly, her words a quiet fortress against the world's noise. For her third attempt, Vedika didn't just study, she rebuilt herself. She pored over her old notes, traced her mistakes, and stood before her mirror each dawn, whispering, "This isn't just for you, Vedika. It's for every girl told she can't." She skipped village fairs, ignored the hum of festivals, and studied by lantern light when the power failed. Her promise was unbreakable. "I will fly." On exam day, her hands trembled, but her heart stood firm. When the results came, she sat alone, the phone screen glowing in the dark. Her roll number stared back at her. She'd passed. Tears spilled down her cheeks, warm and unstoppable, as she ran to her mother, collapsing into her arms. "Mom," she whispered, her voice breaking, "I'm going to fly." Raipur erupted in joy. The voices that once mocked her now spoke her name with awe. At the NDA, Vedika faced trials that tested her body, her mind, her spirit. She fell, she bruised, but she rose. She found sisters among her fellow trainees, girls with dreams as fierce as hers, stories as raw as hers. The day she donned her Air Force uniform, her reflection in the mirror felt like a triumph, not just for her, but for every girl who dared to dream. Years later, at a village gathering, Vedika stood on a stage, her uniform crisp, her voice steady, yet brimming with fire. "If you have a dream," she said, pausing to let the words settle. Let it be so fierce that it reshapes the world. They said a girl can't do it. Now they say a girl can do anything. Today, Vedika is a trained pilot in the Indian Air Force. She returns to Raipur each month, no longer the quiet girl who walked its dusty lanes. She's a spark, a symbol. With her own earnings, she built a small study center where girls now gather, books in hand, preparing for NDA, UPSC, and dreams of their own. Vedika's story isn't just hers, it's a call to every dreamer told their wings are too fragile to fly. If Vedika's journey stirs your soul, share it. Let her courage ripple outward, and never forget, surrender is not an option. Hold your dreams tight, work relentlessly, and carve your own path to the stars.